Hey guys, how's it going? It's Brandon here, and today I'll be showing you guys the life of isolation. So, as some of you might know, I come from Sydney, and moving to Adelaide is definitely a transition. So, now that Corona situation has kind of calmed down a bit, um, I've still got a lot of coping to do, a lot of new strategies, studying, and sort of trying to deal with my unhealthy habits of procrastination. But outside of that, yeah, the South Australian state borders essentially are still closed, which means that whilst I'm able to move back to Adelaide, which is where I am right now, to continue my university studies, it does mean that I have to undergo quarantine. So for 20 days, wow, what a great life. Anyways, so that aside, I'll show you straight into the isolation room, and afterwards I'll show you how I study. Not that fun to be honest, but anyways, let's get started. Welcome back. So here we are. So what I'm going to be doing is doing a quick tour around the room. So I'll start from the door and then just go around. Okay. So yeah. Anyways, let's get started. Nothing too fancy about the store. I got some fire procedures, evacuation. Because obviously we gotta prepare ourselves in case stuff happens. Yeah. So look at over here. We have some wonderful portraits of some interesting people. And yeah, anyways, let's get started. So here we have some plastic bags and wipes. Obviously, these are some pretty essential stuff. Cutlery, especially disposable. Some cups and like that. Over here we have some South Australian spring water. Definitely not the best tasting water I've ever had. It does have some kind of acidity to it, but aside of that, man's got to hustle. You can't really complain when you're in isolation. And yeah, so here we have some keys. This is like a plastic bag roll. So when my trash bin gets pretty full, it's time to, replace the bags. And yeah, next up here with the bottle. So that bottle right there. So that's used for where I used to store my essentially hot water, which I use the boiling kettle for. And the essentials. So what we have here. Toothpaste, and obviously the cup and toothbrush. So definitely essentials for keeping good dental hygiene. And so to the right here we have some plastic bags and Pantene shampoo, alongside with some Cocoa Pops and a towel. And that sums up this side of the room. Oh, and then some shoes and more water. Because man's gotta stay hydrated. Anyways, moving on to here. So what do we have here is essentially just my typical setup. So we have some markers, books, a whole bunch of random drawings of teeth, and yeah. So in case you're wondering what's this, there's a sock in there, and yeah, weird place to have a sock in a box. But essentially, what this sock is used for is to house teeth. So yeah, here's some other random stuff. And yeah, so what we have here is just like a box so that's a sock right there. And that's sort of what we use as like a kind of simulation. So with the corona situation, we aren't really able to work on each other's student's mouth. And so we're just using this sort of substitute, we gotta adapt. And yeah, so that's my setup. So I have glasses here. So these are for long distance because I'm short-sighted, can't really see far too well. These are blue light glasses because especially during this situation when I'm like always using devices and my eyes are getting strained all the time, gotta filter out some of that blue light. Keep my eyes healthy. And yeah, retainers for my uppers. I got a moisturizing cream because in winter it does get a bit dry. Carmex, lip balm, so similar purpose. And yeah, so that's my safety glasses that I would use in a dental clinic. And glasses. So these are the blue light glasses. And yeah, so what we have here is my dentistry kit. It's a whole bunch of sharp materials in that dental kit. So yeah, gotta be careful. Whole bunch of gum, antiseptic wipes. yeah, that sums up this region. And yeah, so that's my Surface keyboard. As you can tell, I'm using my Surface to record this, and my mouse and my phone. And yeah, so that's a general overview of everything. And yeah, so we got some towels here, and here we have a hazard zone. So definitely not the best wire management, but there's not really a place anywhere. And this is how the room came in originally, so might as well not touch too much on it. Here we have a really nice heater slash aircon, so you can open this flap over here, and then there's this whole system. And yeah, so it helps keep the room warm, helps keep the room cool depending on what I need. And yeah, microwave and a fridge, of course, bin, because I've got to dispose some of the trash. And yeah, that sums up that aspect of the room. And then now going back over here, we have the curtains, the blinds, the never-ending suspense on my 14 days of isolation. And here's the bed. Feels great. Anyways, so these are bags, luggage, and stuff like that. And here's some more merchandise. And yeah, so back to the room. That sums up this room tour. Hey guys, welcome back. And so let me give you some insight to what I like to do. Whether or not this be in isolation or just in general, really. So these are normally the tabs I have open. So this is like this tab to the left is sort of where I do my my unis related stuff. I do a lot of procrastination, mainly through YouTube. Sometimes I watch on Twitch, got Facebook sometimes, and pretty recently I've been going on chess, and it's been a pretty interesting experience. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It's almost like a game substitute. So yeah, definitely great for distressing if you guys want to find that sort of medium. Outside of that, there's always the emails. Those are pretty important places to search for, and Australian. So this is kind of the news articles and stuff like that. So it's kind of how I keep up to date with all of the news and events that are happening in the world. So there's obviously a big focus on coronavirus, but in Australia, the situation's definitely been getting a lot better. So yeah, that sort of sums up that aspect. But when it comes to study, there are definitely two things I'd like to do. So this is typically what my notes look like. So it's just like simplified dot points, and yeah, so I have like learning objectives, which is kind of like the targets which I should be able to answer at the end of the lecture recording. And yeah, that's sort of how it goes. My notes are definitely compiled from a lot of different sources. So I go through textbooks, but not that much, to be honest. Most of it is from the actual lecture slides that the professors put up. But sometimes I do refer to notes from those from in the years above. And to be honest, those notes are definitely pretty helpful because they also do summaries of lectures from previous years. So those are really nice to look at, especially when you're trying to compare whether or not you missed information or whether or not stuff like that is like missing. So yeah, that's sort of a brief glimpse into kind of how I make my notes. However, I think how I study from it is very different. So this is the first time I'm trying this method, but so far it's worked really well for me. And it's a process of spaced repetition and active recall. So combine these two elements in order to retain my knowledge. And so this is a really useful app called Anki, which I started using since the 3rd of April. And so this app essentially allows me to make my own flashcards, and from that, pretty much always do consistent learning every single day. So these are kind of like cards that I review on a daily basis and stuff like that. I think yesterday I did a really decent amount. But yeah, that sort of sums up the gist of the things. And yeah, I feel like some of the cards. So for example, I go into this. I've done some already, so I have like 5 cards left. So study. So what happens when you're exposed to allergens? So normally when I have a situation like this, I like to think about the question allergens. So what and this, and then so when I've thought of an answer. So it's like first exposure, you plasma cells produce IgE, and then such and such, and then when so here like different categories of like um, how I feel about the question. So because it's a pretty recent question, I'm not too sure about this. I'll press in this case I'll press 2, and then so forth. And then with the macrophages originate from, and I would say they originate from monocytes after they cross a capillary wall. And then perhaps something else to think about is like macrophages always called macrophages, or perhaps have like other names. So in the spleen, in the liver, and areas like that. So yeah, so macrophages, dust cells, and then here I have like attachments of like stuff like that. And so this one I'll say I did decently well. I didn't decently know this, so I'll say good, and so forth. And so I have like a decent number of decks. And so for each card that I use, I kind of tag it. So I have dentistry foundations, so these sort of like the things I go through. Incisors, canine molars, and dental radiology. Just sort of like this sort of stuff. And yeah. So in terms of how many cards I have as of right now, it's a decent amount. So if I just browse my deck, so this is the number of cards I have in total right now. So 356. And so on average, I review about 50-ish cards per day, I believe. So I'll just check again. Yeah, 50 cards per day. So like in a week, I'll probably go through almost the entire deck. But so I think the most important thing that I really got from this is being able to retain that knowledge in the long term. And I think that's something that I recommend a lot of people would definitely try out, because I know a lot of people would like to just grab notes from other peers, grab notes from this person, that person, and literally just read it like a book. And that does get pretty boring. So yeah, definitely try out Anki if you guys have the chance. There's definitely a pretty steep learning curve in terms of getting used to the different types of in terms of making your own cards and being time efficient. But once you get the hang of things, it should hopefully be better. And yeah, so that I guess sums it up. Yeah. So happy you guys enjoyed the tour, and hopefully this should essentially sum up my life in isolation and sort of the things that I do in general. You guys have any stories or any things that you want to share, and maybe perhaps might want to talk with me, chat with me, and talk about some of these experiences that you may have, whether you be in isolation, or maybe perhaps you're just living off somewhere else by yourself for a lot of different reasons. Just definitely hit me up in the comments, and yeah, hope you enjoy.